Thanks for coming this morning. Obviously, really appreciate you guys being here. Very excited about the outcome of the game versus Miami, Battle of the Bricks. Got to give a big shout out. I did not mention this after the game, but getting back a chance to watch the game with the staff and talking with everybody the next day. Crowd was phenomenal, loud. We had to alter some things at the line of scrimmage with the volume of the spectators. So big shout out to the student section. Did a fabulous job. I mean, we literally had to, at least I know for sure, at least 3 times have to do some things different with communication because of the the volume in the stadium. So it was a great crowd for action, and we certainly appreciate it. And then on the game, great effort again. I kind of said my spiel with how I thought the team played, and we're looking forward to the next challenge. I just found out here this morning with the game time, ESPN2, I believe, 8 p.m. against Eastern. So should be a heck of a game.
Guys, coming into this season, obviously Isaiah Cox was looked at as being a #1 receiver. In these last 2 games in particular, he's had a career high against Miami, over 100 receiving yards. Seems like he's really starting to pick it up and be that #1 option for him. So what can you just say about his playmaking ability, especially when he's in the open field?
You're exactly dead on with everything you just said. We had some things that we had to get taken care of early in the season, and he's worked through those things. I'm very proud of him with working through those things. The last 2 games in particular, we have done a good job, I think, of moving him around. He's played slot. I think one of his first touchdown was a slot, and the second touchdown was he was an outside guy into the boundary, I believe. So again, he's heading into this season, most experience, most catches, and you're starting to see kind of what he's capable of. I'd mentioned this after maybe the Kent game. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete, as we all know. He's been working some in the secondary. We're so beat up in the back end. And it looks like we've got another guy out this week, possibly we'll find out today. But back to Isaiah and his athleticism, he was a very, very good defensive back in high school, and he's going to be there to be used as an emergency situation in the back end.
Coach, Eastern Michigan has scored 50 or more points in their last 2 games against their last 2 opponents. With like you said, injuries kind of thinning out your defense a bit. Kind of how are you going to tackle an opponent that averages 35 points a game?
Yeah, obviously the quarterback, Ben Bryant, is having a phenomenal year. Particularly these last 2 games, they try to be balanced. There has been games where the throwing game has carried them, but he starts there. They've got some really good experience in the middle, center and 2 guards. I think the senior and 2 juniors up the middle, and so they protect him well. He got a couple of nice targets in the tight end and the receiver. Defensively, they'll be challenged because of the points. I view them as a little bit like Miami. And now Miami, we were able to make Miami one-dimensional. I think we shut down the running game pretty good. I know we didn't get a high number of sacks. I think we only had 1 recorded, but the quarterback had to escape several times in the game. And it'll take that kind of effort. As far as with our guys up front, we'll have to try to make the quarterback uncomfortable and try to make them one-dimensional. It'll be tough to do. I think offensively we can help with that. Obviously, the score that we were able to build a lead off a couple of mistakes that Miami had, and we were able to put some points on the board and put pressure on the play caller. I think, where they felt like they had to do some more throwing. And moving forward, I think that do you blitz more? Do you do well? It's too early in the week for me to probably say anything about that right now, but I know that our defense will be challenged with their quarterback and how they're operating as an offense.
Curtis, while putting up good numbers against Miami, he took a bit of a beating with 4 sacks. What adjustments do both he and the pass protection need to make against Eastern Michigan, especially as you mentioned, they have 2 really good defensive ends that we haven't?
Yeah, they do. They do. Let's see, the Rush kid and the Ramirez kid. I think forgive me on the first things, but they're really talented. They gave Miami problems. We were watching. Miami just played them 2 weeks ago, I think, and we just got them watching that film as a staff. We'll have to obviously protect better. And we got some bumps and bruises up front. We're hoping to get Nick Sink back this week. I think that'll help. Inside, we were able to play Brody Rogers half the game last week. I think he'll be back to full speed and will increase his rep count. So if you get Brody back and get Nick back in there a little bit, I'm hoping that'll help a little bit with the protection. And then a couple of those, Curtis can maybe get the ball out just a tick quicker, anticipation a little bit more. But going into the game, with Curtis last week, we knew Miami's pass rush was very talented. I hope moving forward against Eastern Michigan that just from a scheme standpoint, hey, where's Isaiah? Where's the tight end? Where's the running back? Try to utilize that combination of quick passes, and then some chip things on those 2 defensive ends, whether it be a tight end or a running back, to help a little bit too.
Coach, the MAC West, it seems this season is a bit more, for lack of a better word, competitive compared to the MAC East. 3 of their teams have 3-2 records, and Northern Illinois is topping them with 4-1. You played one MAC West team this season with Central Michigan. Can you kind of talk a little bit about, is there any difference you see in MAC West teams compared to MAC East teams? Is there any big difference that you might have to prepare for?
Yeah, right now, no. It's a game. I say it about every week, top to bottom, our league, this is the most balanced it's been. And I haven't been one to say that in my time. There's a couple of front runners on each side, and that's kind of usually how it plays out. And then you just got to be prepared when you go on the road. In our league, this year, home or away, it is parity, and it's who plays the best that night, Again, this last game is a perfect example. Who plays the best, and if you see, so to me that plays right in our hands, guys. Hey, let's how we practice, how we prepare, and then get up there and play our best 4 quarters, and we should be in the ball game in the second half. As you guys know, just from a conference standpoint, we've been in every game, and have had chances to win. That's why this last game was great for our kids staff, because we found a way to hang on to the lead in the second half, make a few plays down the stretch, whether it be an onside recovery or a tackle or a catch or whatever. We were able to make a few of those plays to come out on top, and we're looking to build off of that.
You guys had your first passing touchdowns against Miami for the first time in a while. Just obviously being two-dimensional is such a big benefit, but just how do you plan to consistently be two-dimensional with your scoring, not just getting downfield, but also in the red zone? Yeah,
I know that's a stat there as far as on the touchdown passes. I will throw this in there against Kent. We got tackled on the half-yard line twice on 2 passes. And so it is just how you explained it. But from a scheme standpoint, offensively, as far as play design, you come up a half-yard short, and you got first and goal at the 1, I think, and we, end up scoring a touchdown on the first one and did not, end up kicking a field goal on the last one. So if it was, if you not had those 2 plays in there, I would say, hey, we need to look at that. I think moving forward for us, I think it's just it's kind of how it happened. The touchdown passes were nice against Miami. Don't get me wrong, but from a scheme and just trying to call plays, it's not really disrupting the flow of how we do things.
Obviously, with just 3 games left, obviously you want to win all 3 of them. But what are some of the biggest goals, I guess, you want to meet throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, we're focusing on we're going to, as a staff, we're going to challenge our guys to take the positives from a win, and continue to improve each week. Try to play our best 4 quarters. I think we're going to be challenged with some injuries in the back end. As I mentioned earlier, we lost another one for we'll see how long after today's doctor's appointment. But I think that the team is hungry. We want to know. We're past the 24 hours on the Miami game. They're going to see the film today, and we're going to put it to rest and try to play a better game against Eastern. As Eastern beat Miami 3 weeks ago. So we'll have to find a way to get the game plan in, and then get it repped and get on the bus and go execute it.
Is there anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
I have one last question.
Okay.
So when Miami played Eastern Michigan, obviously Eastern Michigan, like we said before, is the top scoring offense in the MAC, but Miami was able to hold them to just 13 points.
Yeah.
That proves just how critical the defense is going to be,
Yeah.
despite how shorthanded that's going to be.
We'll be challenged because of I talked about Eastern's offense, but defensively, they're stat-wise, they are right behind Miami. I think prior to the game 2 days ago, because I know Toledo scored 49 points on them, and had some really good numbers. So I don't know where that's going to go. That's what Eastern's got. They've got a really good defense, and they've got a really good offense. Miami's got the number 1 defense in our league, and Eastern's a little bit higher offensively, particularly these last 2 weeks. To your point earlier, and so that's where the challenge is going to come from. Going into the Miami game, I knew our defense was going to be able to slow them down. I thought maybe they may score 17, 24, something like that. And they were on schedule to do that in the second half. I didn't think we were going to have that kind of lead, in the third quarter. But I felt good about how we matched up versus Miami's offense. We have some challenges because of kind of where we're playing a lot of different faces in the back end. That's their strength, and that's their quarterback and their throwing game. So that's a concern going into that game.
Because during the Buffalo and Central Michigan game, I think you guys threw maybe 15 times on average in those games, and then last 2 games you've thrown on average about 40 times. So obviously it's a different quarterback. Armani, the runner, and then Curtis the passer. But what does that mean for your offense? We're able to have just a different game plan just with both quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's we're trying to call things to our strength, of course. We felt like, from a running game standpoint, that those were the things to do. You mentioned the Akron game, Buffalo game, and maybe the Central as well. And the running game was very difficult versus Miami. Their front 7 were very, very talented, and Kent was able to kind of stop us in our up the middle stuff, and we had to go to some option things. I think we scored maybe twice on option, and had one. I think our biggest run of the day was an option play, and we utilized the throwing game to loosen things up in there. That will definitely have to be the case against Eastern. We're not able to line up and just hand the ball off and take control up front, just from because they're really talented, and we got some bumps and bruises in there. So we're gonna have to use the balance approach, and be smart with how do we utilize the guys up front with either Curtis or Armani.
And then one last question for me. It seems like Curtis is not as someone that can also, he can take off when he needs to. I think he had a rush of 35.
Yeah.
So I think the second quarter of the game against Miami. So is that something that Curtis is trying to be working on, something to kind of be better as a runner?
I think he's making really good decisions in that. That was a nice scramble there that we called a pass and caught a different look coverage-wise, and it opened up the middle with the twisting game they had on, and he took off. That's a huge play in the game. I hope that he can continue to do those things. But we do our best to recruit guys that can create with their feet. You know, in our conference, you know, that seems to give defenses the most problems when you got a quarterback that can move around. You know, and we definitely like his mobility along with C.J. Harris and Armani.